Richard Ramirez was an American serial killer, sex offender, and burglar whose killing spree occurred in the greater Los Angeles and San Francisco areas in the state of California. From April 1984 to August 1985, Ramirez murdered at least 15 people during various break-ins, with his crimes usually taking place after dark, leading to him being dubbed the Night Stalker, the Walk-In Killer, and the Valley Intruder. He was convicted and sentenced to death in 1989 and died while awaiting execution in 2013. The brutality and randomness of his crimes caused widespread terror throughout California in the mid-1980s. Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker, was widely considered evil. His own statements in court, his satanic imagery, and his lack of remorse contributed to this view. Ramirez exhibited classic signs of antisocial personality disorder, combined with thrill-seeking behavior. His crimes weren't just about violence, they were about power and control. The breaking and entering wasn't merely a means to an end. It was integral to his psychological gratification. He needed to violate the sanctity of the home, to shatter people's illusion of safety in their most private spaces. From a criminal psychology perspective, Ramirez's childhood trauma clearly manifested in his adult crimes. Exposed to extreme violence from an early age, including witnessing graphic war crimes through his cousin's Vietnam photographs, Ramirez's developing brain normalized brutality. This early exposure, combined with severe head injuries and possible temporal lobe damage, created a perfect storm for violent behavior. The Night Stalker case demonstrates how multiple factors, neurological damage, childhood trauma, substance abuse, and environmental influences can converge to create criminal behavior. Understanding these psychological components isn't about excusing the inexcusable, but developing better tools for early intervention and profiling. In studying cases like Ramirez, we gain crucial insights into the intersection of psychology and criminal behavior, knowledge that remains vital for law enforcement and mental health professionals today. Ramirez's crimes were heavily influenced by a troubled childhood. Frequently abused by his father, he developed brain damage and started abusing drugs at the age of 10. He began developing interests in the macabre in his early and mid-teens from his older cousin, a Vietnam War veteran with schizophrenia and PTSD, who extensively bragged about the war crimes he had committed and who killed his wife in front of Ramirez when Ramirez was 15. Ramirez learned military skills from him that he later employed during his killing spree. He cultivated a strong interest in Satanism and the occult. By the time he had left his home in Texas and moved to California at the age of 22, Ramirez frequently used cocaine. He often committed burglaries to support his drug addiction, many of which were later frequently accompanied by murders, rapes, attempted rapes, and battery. In court, Ramirez was defiant and unrepentant. After being sentenced to death, he notoriously stated, "Big deal. Death always went with the territory. See you in Disneyland." Survivors and victims, families, have also recounted his cruel indifference. Ramirez openly embraced his evil reputation. In court, he once declared, "I am beyond good and evil. Lucifer dwells in us all." While some biographical details point to a troubled childhood involving abuse and witnessing violence, and his drug addiction was well documented, most view these factors as explanations, not excuses, for his horrific actions. The overwhelming consensus remains that his cruel, sadistic, and unremorseful spree of violence cemented his reputation as a representation of pure evil.